Just how real is the threat of relegation for Everton Football Club following their 10-point deduction by the Premier League? They've been found to be in breach of the profitability and sustainability rules of English football, and now they find themselves in a situation where relegation could happen. It's a real possibility, and it has been for the past few seasons. But now the league has taken action on the club and deducted them the largest points total in Premier League history. Hello and welcome back to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and before we get into today's video, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Now, Everton, there's a lot to discuss, so we're just going to get right into it. The club have been fined 10 points. It's the largest points total in Premier League history. Middlesbrough have been fined before, Portsmouth have been fined points before, but Everton have been given the biggest 10 points. 3 wins and a draw from your league season, essentially. They were 8 points clear of the relegation zone. They now find themselves 2 points deep in the relegation zone. And the threat of going down is serious this time. Now, as a Liverpool fan, it'd be easy to sit here and laugh and go, Everton, they've lost points, haha, 10 points down, they're in the relegation zone. Only one club has ever achieved survival following 12 games on 4 points or fewer, and it was Everton back in 1995. Everton's chances of going down are slim, in my opinion. Before we get into that, we're just going to go over a few of the logistics, the reason they've been fined. So, the sustainability and profitability rules of English football dictate you can only lose £105 million over a certain spell. I can't remember if it's a season or a few seasons. Everton have lost £124.5 million. Now, what this means is the club is spending more than they financially can. They're putting themselves in an unsustainable situation by spending too much money, which they don't have, on the likes of wages, a brand new stadium, chopping and changing managers, and it's caught up to them. Now, the club have come out and said that they're heartbroken and they will fight this, and that there's a lot of other factors that go into this. COVID being the big one. No club made profit over the COVID period. I think pretty much every club lost money because there was no match day revenue, there was no shirt sales at the ground. There was no seats sold. Nothing was being sold because fans couldn't attend games. On top of that, they also lost funding due to the Ukraine war. That's out of their hands. Not a lot they can do about that. But Everton still are spending money they do not have. They've signed big name players on big wages, the likes of Onana, Yerry Mina, Alex Iwobi, Ducore. A lot of players have come in on big money to try and give Everton the chance to compete for European football. And that's not happened. Instead, they've been battling relegation. So they now find themselves in a situation where they are spending more money than they sustainably can. If I loan £100 from a bank, but I only have £10 to pay them back, I will find myself in debt. Everton are finding themselves in debt, and because of this, they've had a 10 points deduction. It's so that teams cannot find themselves in a situation where they have to enter administration in the same way that Portsmouth did. And Everton might have to cancel moving to their new ground. They might have to release players from contracts. They might have to deal with more financial repercussions if they can't get things back on track. The rules have been put into place so that things like this do not happen. But Everton, under Farhad Moshiri, have tried signing young, cheap players. They've tried signing players on free transfers. They've tried signing expensive big name players like James Rodriguez, big managers like Carlo Ancelotti on big wages, Rafa Benitez, and nothing's worked. And the club do not have a clear direction of which they want to go. Farhad Moshiri's tried to sell the club to 777 Sport. and it's not worked. It's clear there is no plan in place from the owners, from the club. And now, because of this, they find themselves in a situation where if they are relegated, they may never financially recover. If Everton were to go down, I would want it to be for footballing reasons because they were poor that season, because they were beaten too much, because the teams above them were better than them. I don't want to see Everton relegated because of financial breaches. I want to see teams go down because their performances on the pitch were not up to Premier League standard. And Everton in the past few seasons have scraped survival by a point or two. They now find themselves 2 points deep in the relegation zone after 12 games. Do I think they'll go down? No. I think Everton will be fine. I think they will survive. I think there's worse teams, Sheffield, Luton, Burnley, who have all come up with worse. Bournemouth, yes, they got the Newcastle win, but they're still looking a bit rocky at times. Fulham have looked poor this season. I think Everton will be fine, but the threat is still there. The threat of relegation and possibly more rule breaches being found out. Financially, they might find themselves in a situation where they just cannot bounce back. And I feel like when you get relegated, there's a clock, there's a time to get back in the league. If you go down and miss out on promotion that season, you get more pressure put on you, the fans, because they expect to go up. If Everton found themselves in a situation where they came down and then it took them a season or two before they started competing again, you don't know what situation you'll find yourself in. It happened to Portsmouth. It happened to Brentford. Brentford. Sunderland. It happens to a lot of clubs. And because of this, Everton need to make sure the performances on the pitch this season are good enough to keep them in the league, which I think they will be. I think Sean Dyche just got a beat going out of this Everton team. Like I said, they were 8 points clear. They've won a third of their league games so far this season. You look at it, I think they've scored more goals than anyone in the bottom half, bar Chelsea and Brentford. They've conceded less goals, apart from everyone except Chelsea and Brentford. Everton are not in a bad position to survive relegation, and I don't think they will go down. Um, with regards to the breach, it's steep when you've got clubs like Man City and Chelsea who are being found to have offshore accounts, who have 115 charges against them and no repercussions happening. If they get a money fine, I understand Everton could not pay a fine if it was to come in, but for clubs that make vast amounts of money, fines nothing to them. You look at City; they earned well over £700 million last year in revenue. A fine of what, 50 million is nothing to them. Points deductions are the biggest form of fine you can give someone because there's a genuine punishment there. There's a risk. Everton have seen that this season. There's a risk of relegation. There's a risk of financial struggles for them. They have been the example for other clubs now going forward, which is a shame to see for Everton, but there's a valid reason for it. If they've breached the financial rules of profitability and sustainability and have been found guilty by a court of arbitration, then the points deduction is warranted. And all Everton can do now is ensure that they play the best football possible to make sure that they survive this season. Thank you very much for watching. There's going to be more videos coming out soon. And also make sure, if you enjoyed this, to like and subscribe and tune into the LFC Transfer Room every day, 7:30, to see myself